If you have been, for even a little while, measuring your mood, which is generated by your focus or thought, with that of your inner being, the source within you, if you've been reaching for the way your inner being feels as you approach the subject of this person or this situation or that situation, if you've been measuring or acknowledging how you feel in relationship to how the source within you feels, you have discovered worthiness easily, because source will train you into an expectation of good things coming to you. And that is the best definition of worthiness that we can find, an expectation of good things coming to you. But if you are like most people, you have let the way you feel about you hinge on how they feel about you. And how they feel about you is really tricky, because first of all, they pretend they care when they don't. Now, that's not altogether a bad thing, because everyone is selfishly oriented. Everyone has this source within them that they are wanting to line up with. It was that which you knew when you came forth into your physical experience. But it's an interesting thing to watch physical humans, humanity, moving about in interaction with one another, using such, from our perspective, odd things as your criteria about whether you continue your attention to them or not. From our perspective, since we know that you were source energy before you came into this body, and that the larger part of you still is non-physically focused source energy, even though a part of you is in this physical body, from our perspective, if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would be spending 100% of our feeling, measuring, seeking alignment time to seek alignment with the source within us, rather than with the people around who are having emotional and verbal and physical responses to who you are. It's an interesting thing. For example, let's say you are in law enforcement and it's your job to catch the bad guys, but 100% of them say they didn't do it. It's just what you always do when you're doing something that you know someone else does not approve of. You deny it. You deny it and deny it and deny it and deny it. So 100% of them deny it. So you begin as this, you don't mean to, but as this law enforcement person, you begin to equate, because sometimes your senses let you know they did do it. You know they did it. You can feel that they did it. You just can't prove that they did it yet. You know that they did it, but they said they didn't do it. But now, over years, now everyone who says they didn't do it, you think did it. Because the what-isness of life experience sort of trains you. You've let things that are moving about, that are irrational, be your measurement for how you feel. When you let the response that someone who is physically focused has to you train you into your behavior or into your thought patterns, you don't have a true discernment, because they don't hold steady. And the reason that we're taking this sort of unusual approach to sort of get your attention is because we want you to understand that there is someone in your life experience who does hold steady, who you can count on, who will shine a very bright vibration that represents the fullness of all that you have become, who you can trust unequivocally every time, because there is no hidden agenda. There is nothing that is squirrely going on. It is the true vibration of who you are, and it is syncing with that true vibration that equals that feeling of worthy that you are all looking for. It's alignment. Worthy is alignment. Worthy is wholeness. Worthy is the love of source being allowed by you right here and now because of what you're thinking about. So it's interesting. Here you are, magnificent mass consciousness, here by the billions interacting with one another, and hardly any of you really paying attention to the guidance that comes forth from within you, because you have let the environment that surrounds you train you in your responses. And maybe that's what socialization is. Maybe that's what society says. Society says, society who doesn't exist in terms of individual, but society, this collective consciousness, you've let one member of society after another train you into caring about their response to your behavior. And in order to get along, you don't want your kids to be too weird, even though you may know things that you want them to know. You don't want them to talk about what they know in a way that they might be misunderstood. In other words, we know society seems to have the upper hand. This part of society that has the most votes seems to sort of control things for a little while, but not really. Because what really controls what's going on with you is one thing, one singular thing, one only thing. And that is your relationship with your inner being. Your relationship with your inner being, who is the culmination of all that you have become. It is the high points, it is the best that you have synthesized out of all that you have lived. And that inner being stands in its source-like perspective, offering a never-ending vibration that you can feel yourself into alignment with in every moment of every day, once you first acknowledge that it exists, and second, acknowledge that when you feel eager, you're aligned. That when you feel joyful, you're aligned. That when you feel pensive, you're not. That when you feel frustrated, you're not. That when you feel angry, you're not. When you feel defensive, you're not. When you feel love or appreciation, you are. So if you will leave this gathering having been convinced by the clarity and cleverness of the words that we will spew in your direction all day long, as you leave this gathering with one powerful intention, and that is you are going to identify for yourself a new criteria by which you are going to live your life. And that is, does this thought, word, or deed resonate with what the source within me is thinking, speaking, or doing in this precise moment relative to this precise subject? Because you have a partner, a non-physical counterpart, a source within, an inner being. You may give it whatever label that you want to find for it, but what we want you to know that it is who you really are, and anything less than alignment with that eternal non-physical source energy part of you will feel off to you. And when it's off, you can use any excuse in the world to explain, well, I feel bad because of what you said, or I feel bad because of what you did, or I feel bad because you don't look at me in the way I want you to look at me, or I feel bad because you care about that person more than you do about me, or I feel bad, and we say blah 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 blah. We really do blah 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 blah. Actually, we really say nothing about that, because anything that has to do with anything that makes you feel bad, there's only one thing for you to do, and that is get off of it. Stop beating the drum of it. You're never going to figure it out. You're never going to sort it out. You're never going to take something that feels off and make it feel on. You are not going to take that thing that feels off and work it into a place. Sometimes you say, well, if I could just figure it out, if I could just get to the bottom of it, if I could just find the truth of it, if I could just find the fact of it, then I would feel better. And we say, no, you wouldn't. You'll feel worse. You'll feel worse. Because when you get to the bottom of something that you do not want, you hold yourself in vibrational discord with what you do want. And you're never going to feel good when you hold yourself in vibrational discord to what you want. So then you say, if you're normal and human, well, what about the truth of things? Doesn't the truth count for anything? And we say, when you focus upon something and hold your vibration, thought, vibration, consciousness, focus on it steady long enough, you will create it in your experience. You will make it true. You will make it true. And you say, but what about the really corrupt and awful things that are already true that I've just discovered? And we say, don't let those awful and corrupt things that you've just discovered train your vibrational frequency into more of the same. That's like going to a buffet and finding something that by your estimation is just nasty to eat and saying, I'm going to eat a lot more of this because it's true. Because it's true. And we say, but do you prefer it? No, it's horrible. Then why are you eating it? Because it's there. Because it's there, and because I want the approval of the woman who made it. And we say, good luck with that one.